right. Welcome to Bucketphoria. This is a basketball podcast presented by Mafia Sports Report and Sports Dynasty. Now, the last time we were here, I believe game 3 was finished, right? We were 3 games in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, it was 3 games.
And now we got ourselves an NBA champion. Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets. They finally did it. They got their first championship ever in franchise history. That was a great team who was dominant all year, and they finished the job.
And yeah, for this, like the last 2 games, well, this whole series as a whole, it just felt like the talent discrepancy that Miami was kind of facing all year long finally caught up with them. Because, like, for one, they could have hit their open looks and continued. Yeah, especially in the 5th game, especially like they were playing great on the defensive side of the ball, but they literally couldn't buy a bucket. They only finished with 89 for the whole entire game in that 5th game. When they took that L, it's unacceptable. They don't have anybody that can create offense for them. And Tyler Hero was active for that last game too, but didn't get any minutes. Which I understand why, but it was one of those situations where I was saying this too in the last 5 minutes when they literally couldn't buy a basket. I would have just put him in there just to see what happens at this point, because it's either you win or you're not playing until October.
I agree with you there. I think when you're down 3-1, I feel like those situations I would have just played him from the beginning because you're down 3-1 anyway. So whatever you were doing is not working, obviously. So why not just go for a Hail Mary and put him in? I probably would have gave Omer Yusuf some minutes too, because it's a 3-1 deficit and you're in the road. Try something. But like you said, perfectly said, it caught up to them. The talent discrepancy caught up to them. The difference in size. It just felt like this whole series, they were holding on for dear life to just not get blown out.
Right. And despite it being a 5-game series, I was actually entertained by the series. I really was. I thought the series was like the only game that I really wanted to gouge my own eyes out was the last game. Mind you, it was close, but it was a lot of sloppy basketball the whole entire time. Bad decision making, especially for Jimmy Butler. I want to talk about him real quick in that last game because he played so timid in that 5th game. It was to me unacceptable. I understand he's injured and it's going to affect the shot making, and that makes sense. I'm not saying in terms of that, but he was so timid until like the last 5 minutes where he just started chucking up threes, made some threes, drew a bullshit foul on Aaron Gordon after he kicked Aaron Gordon in the dick, and then the final play, I think when they were down by 1 or 3, I don't remember. I think it was 1. It was 1. They were down by 1, and he drove to the basket. Saw Jokic, got scared, and just threw Aaron pass to KCP that pretty much sealed their fate. Like his decision making that whole game, it was either too aggressive and boneheaded or just too timid. It's like he couldn't find that healthy medium in that final game.
Yeah, he just did not. He had a horrible game. You could argue it was one of his worst game in the playoffs or one of his top 3, top 5 worst games in these playoffs. In this game, it kind of felt like he couldn't really get to his spots, and like you said, the decision making was horrible because that possession you're talking about with the steal, which was pretty much the game, I think he almost traveled in that play.
He did.
Yeah, right? He almost traveled. It just seemed like he just could not get to his spot, or I don't know where he was mentally. It could be many things. It could be simply that I want to just say he didn't show up because that was just horrible. Or it could be a combination of the injury. It could be a combination of him. Maybe he was spent. I don't know. I felt like those last couple shots that he was taking, I guess he just wanted to go out swinging. But I didn't like the shots, especially the one where they were down 3. I believe they had about almost 30 seconds left in the game. You could have went for a quick 2 and play the free throw battle because I think Denver made every free throw. Did Denver make every free throw in this game?
To start off, no. To start off, they were horrible for the free throw line.
Right. So like you said, this was a sloppy game. I feel like these were one of those games where you could probably play the foul game and test the waters, especially with like about 30 seconds to go. Like It's 30 seconds. It's not 5 seconds. And I'm Jimmy Butler. I think he shot like a fadeaway three. So not only
shot like that same shot Kyrie shot in that game 7 against Golden State.
Right. So one, it was an off balance shot. 2, no matter what, that's not the shot you want. It was, I believe, Eric Gordon was on him on that play, wasn't he?
I remember correctly, he was.
Right. So you got the shot that you don't want, which was off balance. You got the coverage that you don't want as well. I felt like that was a panic shot. Again, there was about almost 30 seconds left in the game. You could have went for a quick 2 and tried to play the foul game, but I guess with that steal, it was just all lost.
Because what happened essentially was it was 30 seconds left. They were down by 3, right? KCP sank the 2 free throws.
Yes.
Yeah. And like I said, like I'm thinking, all right, like if you get a 3, cool, but just if you can just get a quick 2, cut it down by 1. Again, like Denver started they made the free throws at the end with I think it was Bruce Brown and it was KCP, and then Bruce Brown made the last 2 to be about 5 and pretty much die with them. But in the first 3 quarters of that game, I'm trying to pull it up real quick. They were okay. About to say, they were 9-for-17 from the free throw line. They couldn't hit their free throws in that in this game. They couldn't hit a 3. I remember that. They only made 3 and 3 quarters. That I remember. When I think Michael Porter Jr. made a 3, it felt like a miracle for 2 reasons. For one, Denver couldn't make a shot, and he finally made a shot. And like, this was a game that you could have went to the basket, and hell, you could have drew a foul. You could have got an and one and got the 3 points. I would have said the hard way, but they couldn't make threes either. So it probably would have been the easier way.
Yeah, I think they definitely made the harder decision in that entire sequence. It was a very, very sloppy game. It felt so obvious where there was one team that was just a little too desperate to avoid elimination. Then there was another team that never really been here before, and they were so desperate to just get out of there to get their trophy. So 2 teams, it kind of felt like they felt the pressure of this final game. So if you're Miami, I would have just try to get something with Bam, who's pretty much been the best player in the series for your team. Just go. You got to go to the line. I mean, Jimmy Butler, you're drawing fouls. That's pretty much what's been your entire game this whole playoff run. So a fadeaway 3 is just crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I was thinking about this too, right? And this is what I said too during the game. You guys, my brother, I was like, I'm like, it felt like Miami put Denver on rookie mode, and they were only up by 1 to 3 quarters. The whole entire game, it felt like it was only a matter of time before Denver, like, turns it on and beats them. It felt that way the whole entire time because Denver played probably the worst game of their season. It's up there. It was that bad.
It was really bad. It was really bad.
Miami could not take advantage because it was to the point. It was like, okay, give it a minute. They're gonna win this game. Like Denver's gonna win this game, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Not too much on Bam because Bam really was their best player. He did play well for the most part in this series, but there were still some moments in this series that just frustrated me. Like where it was a few moments where I feel like KCP was on him and he could not take advantage of that mismatch. And I think Murray was on him once and he missed. And he missed it easily. I'm like, yo, bro, like, you missed those.
Yeah, there was definitely some shots that's you would think is a part of his bread and butter, and some of them he was selling them for sure. He definitely was. I definitely remember those shots and those attempts that he didn't execute, but he was their best player. I mean, he did elevate to a level that I honestly didn't expect him to play in these finals. But he could have, I would say, given the circumstances and given the matchups, I agree with you. He could have been better in those situations because not only this game, it was the whole series where he had a couple of situations where Jamal Murray was on him, where KCP was on him, and he will miss those little floaters that he usually makes all the time.
Right. And here's more that I want to get into. Max Strus sucked. Series. Like the game was only going. The fifth game he was hustling a little bit, you know. He was getting those he was trying to make himself useful with those hustle plays and whatnot in that last game. But the thing is that it's gonna sound weird to say because we really had a game when the Clippers and Suns played each other. In that first game, where Russell Westbrook went 3 for 20, and yeah, had the best 3 for 20 game of all time because he made clutch plays on the stretch for them to win. But I'm sorry, but if you can't shoot the ball, and I don't care how energetic you are on the other side of the ball, you are pretty much useless. And it's sad to say. Continue.
Especially when you're expected to shoot.
Right.
Like he's expected to make outside shots. It just ruins their whole game plan if he can't make not only outside shots, they're open shots.
Yeah, like it's see, I think with Westbrook, right? He can at least put the ball on the floor and try to get it. I see it could do that. Strus can't do that. He can't put the ball on the floor. He just can't. And to the point that it looks like Duncan Robinson is a better finisher than he is. Because I think Duncan Robinson can put the ball on the floor in this series. Well, not series, playoffs in general. But like he missed it. You're useless. They're literally playing 4 and 5 on offense, and it makes defense a whole lot easier to guard Bam and Jimmy when you're not making any threes, which you know what you're getting paid to do. And someone else I want to talk about. Oh, Gabe Vincent's another one. He had his games though. Like I think it was game 2 he played really well. Like Gabe Vincent 2 was another one where defensively he was fine. Like he would have situations. Like I think it was the 4th game when he got into foul trouble. Session told I think it was the game 3, game 4. I don't remember what game it was.
It was game 4.
In Miami. It was game 4. Okay. And he's another one. And he's like, who's like he has this Rozier syndrome where he be swearing he's the best player and he be taking those tough shots for no reason, which he can make them. He making those difficult shots before, but it's one of the situations where he thinks it's sustainable when it's not.
Yeah, that's a perfect comparison. He's like a blessing and a curse. I mean, when he's on, he could look like the best player on the floor, but when he's off, he looks so detrimental to the team. And he had his moments, but I mean, this was his first finals. He could have been better, but definitely Max Strus. I think Max Strus earned his way out of this team. I think he really, really, really. If there was ever a showing of his limitations, it was in this series. And this is a player you just can't have a player like this. I mean, like you said, Duncan Robinson. They actually had plays designed for Duncan Robinson to be the attacker going into the paint. As insane as that sounds, but it's been the whole playoffs they've been doing this, and especially, I mean, Boston knows. I mean, he destroyed Boston with that, with those little sequences. And if you can't have that with Max Strus, I mean, there's kind of no point in having him in this team, especially when you got Tyler Hero coming back next season. I think he earned his way out of this ball club.
I'm about to say, yeah, pretty much. And I'm going to continue going down the list. Kyle Lowry, played well, though.
He did.
I think he played well in the series for the most part. I thought he was the second best player. Kevin Love, for the minutes that he got in this situation, he was put in. I thought he played pretty well, too.
I thought he played well, too.
Here's nothing. This is what I talk about in the 4th game. It looked like in the 4th game, he was the only person that made a shot. He looked like the best player in that team, that 4th game. And he didn't play in the 4th quarter at all. And it's crazy. I'm watching this, and he's making shots. I'm like, yo, Kevin will try to win. I'm like Kevin will try to play. And I thought he should have finished out that game. I understand he old, but he's still hooping. You got Kyle Lowry out there, which I'm not saying he was bad. He still played well, but I was saying
he held his own on defense too. He drew a couple charges in these finals.
He did.
He held his own. I think he had a pretty decent season, giving his role in this team. I'll say he played pretty good.
But it was a frustrating loss for Miami, and honestly speaking, it's one of those situations where you gotta you really gotta get talent.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. And we were talking about this. I think we were talking about this yesterday or the day before, where this free agency class is a free agency class where it benefits them. So, okay, I believe they have their unrestricted are Strus, Vincent, Zeller, and Love, right? So obviously Zeller's gone. They should have Struce gone. Struce could be. I think he's gonna be gone. I think they realize that. So you kind of really want Vincent.
Or if
I
you want to
feel
bring back
like right, and Love. A vet minimum doesn't hurt, right? Like what does a vet minimum do? Like it's not gonna hurt to bring it back for that, right? But there's a couple of key free agents in terms of I would say role players where they can add to this ball club and try to make them better because they missed a lot of talent, a lot of just guys just make shots, man. Like, of course, I know that's supposed to be Jimmy Butler, but that's the problem when you have a team constructed like this, where you gotta expect a guy to be Superman, and when he's not, you're finished.
yeah, because Denver was literally the worst possible matchup for Jimmy Butler. It really was. And about his ankle injury aside, like you gotta deal with players like Michael Porter, who he can take, but his length is gonna bother you about in some positions. You got Aaron Gordon, who's a fire hydrant, who gave them problems all series long. About
Yep.
you have Casey, who's a great defender. Yeah, Bruce Brown's who's another fire hydrant, and it's a lot of bodies that Denver has that they could put on Butler, and they could manage with the others. Like you could, like even Jamal Murray got some stuff on Jimmy Butler as well, obviously, but you can move Jamal Murray on like you can put him on Gabe Vincent or Max Juice or whatever, or whoever their worst attacker is, and you can literally just put like three different people on Butler, you'd be all right.
Even in the interior, Jokic can't jump, but it always seems like when you go body to body with him, he stops you. And
He's a big body.
pretty much. And one thing I'll say about Jokic, I think Jokic does something that I would say probably like really Shaq does is use your body till its max potential, right? And I think Jokic literally just does in the defensive end, especially. I think he does. I don't think he could do anything better. I think he does everything that he possibly can in that end and uses every inch of that body to bother you, which gives quality stops, even though he can't even jump too high, you know.
About to say, and that's the thing with Jokic, and that's why like the bad defender claims are stupid because he ain't punching your shot, but at the end of the day, he's there, like he's there, and he uses his big body to bother shots. Like his frame can going on him with his frame can be a problem. Again, he's big and he's strong, so it's like so. I'm not saying he's a great defender. I'm not saying that, but he's serviceable to good in that aspect.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And I'll say this too. I think because Bam was on this series, right? But I feel like Jokic is kind of a reason why Bam didn't really average like 30. Because I seen a couple of stops where Bam just couldn't get a shot over him. Where Jokic just got quality stops over him. I feel like if maybe against another team, if Bam played like this, he might have averaged 30 against them. But I think Jokic kind of, in a way, I feel like Jokic checked him to a lower average. Yes, he did look better than normal, but I seen a lot of quality stops. I feel like against anyone else, Bam might have just averaged 30 against them.
He averaged 22 points per game, but did it in 45%. For a non-3-point shooter, you'll take that any day of the week.
Definitely.
But let's move on to the winning team. Why not? The reigning, defending, undisputed champions, the Denver Nuggets. So, start with that. Let's just start with the big Serbian elephant in the room. Nikola Jokic. This is the season that's going to be remembered by many. He had that type of season where literally every bad narrative that people try to put on him, people try to say he couldn't lead the team. People try to say his defense is going to be the reason why they would never win anything. They pretty much the MVP was pretty much a witch hunt to make sure he didn't win. To make sure he didn't win a third
Some
one.
people revoked his stats for MVP because they believed that he was stat padding.
Right. And every negative narrative you could have ever asked, like you could ever Like looking for Jokic. Jokic had many of them. Jokic had really bad takes. It was ridiculous in the past few years. Just shattered all of them in just one season. It's ridiculous. He had one of the more dominant playoff runs you see. The longest series was against the Suns, and even then, you never thought in that series they were in danger.
Yeah, never.
And he averaged 30, 13, and 9.5 assists in this whole entire playoff run as a whole. And it's crazy because it's like we've seen like dominant runs like in the past. We've seen Steph last year when Steph was on a man on a mission. We've seen LeBron in 2012 was the one we won the first one, right?
Yes, 2012.
The famous game 6 picture against Boston. That that's crazy. Giannis 2 years ago when he won his title. And it ranks up there with those. Even I think there was one year that Shaq did. It was, I don't remember if it was 2000 or 2001. The one they did to be Indiana or Philly. I don't know which year it was where he literally couldn't be stopped. It was one of those 2 years. I forgot which one it was though.
Yeah, it might have been the Indy year.
2000.
Yeah. Dirk.
But, I'm about to say Dirk. Yeah, Dirk in 2011, and I feel like more so for Dirk, especially it was the last 2 rounds.
Yeah,
and he did cook my team though.
Well, I think Timmy in 03, I believe.
Yeah, Dirk in 03.
Yeah.
Where he got robbed out of a catchable double in the final game of that finals.
Mm-hmm.
But this ranks up there with those like performances. He like it literally never felt like he had a bad game. You could say his bad game was in game 4 of the finals, where he shot only 8 for 19, but still had 23 points, 12 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 blocks.
That's ridiculous.
And 4 steals, and 4 assists, which is low for his standards.
That is ridiculous.
Field goal percentage aside, that's a great game by most.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the Aaron Gordon Masterclass game 4 crazy. And
game 4 was the Aaron Gordon game.
Game 4 was the Aaron Gordon Masterclass.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. And I feel like, and I'm gonna say this right now, people should be ashamed of themselves for slandering Jokic's name like this, trying to say that he can't win the playoffs. Where in the past 2 years he didn't have a healthy team.
He did not. Yeah.
Like both against Golden State and Phoenix was when Phoenix swept them, right? I think they won for it.
Yeah, they did. They swept them. Yeah.
I was say they never had a first shot with this core. It was either Jamal Murray's ACL getting exploded, Michael Porter's back being done, and even then, I feel like in the last year, I feel like they had a good enough team to win it, but them adding KCP and Bruce Brown really like made it easier.
It put them over the edge.
Yeah, because no offense to Will Barton and Monte Morris, solid role players in this league, but it's one of those situations where it's like you did need to upgrade. Because I thought with KCP and Bruce Brown, that series against Golden State does not get ended in 5. They probably still would have lost, but it would not have gotten ended in 5, especially for Monte Morris' sake, because he was frustratingly bad.
I mean, KCP, when it's all said and done, man, in the last when you look back, he's gonna be one of the best role players in his generation, bro. Like he's literally up there, one of the best role players ever, right? Bruce Brown, he's one of the best role players today. Like these guys are up there, and they're both two-way. And I mean, Bruce Brown, especially in the Western Conference Finals and in the NBA Finals, it felt like there were possessions where he could not be stopped, especially in transition. He was damn near unstoppable in transition. There's countless buckets I've seen Bruce Brown get in transition where it's just like he just feels like another option that Denver has where you got to already worry about everyone else. And then here comes Bruce Brown doing what he's doing. And then you got KCP doing with his championship pedigree. He's the one with the championship pedigree in this team. He's going to make the big shots. He's done it already. He made those big free throws. It just, with those two, it just felt like it's too much. It's too much to deal with in this basketball club. And with Jokic, for your big mans, right? Just want to throw it out there. He ran through both Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns, right? He ran through both of them. He ran through, you can take this with a grain of salt, but he did run through DeAndre Ayton very effortlessly.
I was the first one with a grain of salt. We said Rudy Gobert.
Right? He ran through AD, and I mean, he ran through him, right?
He ran through him. Yeah, he ran through him. It was ridiculous.
And then he ran through Bam Adebayo. So
in terms of, I was gonna say, in terms of big, you can't get much better than that. You really can't.
Right. Only really person you're thinking of is what? Is Giannis. Like, he's the only one left. But he pretty much ran through all the bigs in his conference. And then Bam Adebayo, who's one of the better bigs in this league, ran through them all. He ran through them all. So all the big man narratives that everyone had, that's right out the window too. I mean, who else are you going to stack on him?
Victor.
Right? Victor. I heard people saying that. People was like, in about like 3 years, they're going to have the Western Conference Finals against San Antonio Spurs, Jokic versus Victor.
Listen, I don't think it's going to happen that quickly, but we'll see what happens. But other people to talk about. Jamal Murray, man, he had, like, first of all, hell of a playoff run for him, for sure. Hell of a playoff run by him. And it's crazy, too, because back-to-back years, we had a person who missed 2 seasons, essentially, and the game they come back, they get their ring. He, like, it's crazy too because it felt like this was supposed to happen 2 years ago against the year they lost to Phoenix. This was supposed to happen 2 years ago, and then he tore up his knee, and he thought that he was gonna get traded. And when he said like I'm damaged goods and all that, with his coach reassured him, talking about like don't worry, like we got you always just worry about healing up. He worked hard. He grinded, and he took some games for him to get his legs back under him. But when it came playoff time, electric. That I think it was game 2 against the Timberwolves in that first round where he dropped 40. I'm watching this. I'm like, I missed that. Like,
felt like he didn't miss a beat.
Robbed from this for 2 years. Like he was electric. Like it's like he did not miss a beat, and that's another thing. That's another thing to say too. Like him being like him only benefiting from the bubble. Like the bubble run was a fluke. That's out the window too.
That's out the window. Yeah, that's if you're just a fan of the game, that's definitely a player that you're just so happy for because of everything he went through. I mean, true perseverance with Jamal Murray. And everyone, and I used to tell people this when, in my little bubble debates with peers, I'll be like, listen, Jamal Murray in the bubble was a pure animal, man. Like, he was insane in the bubble. And, they would throw that narrative, oh, it's the bubble, this, and that. And look this dude was terrifying in this playoff run. He was unstoppable, man. And you got no choice but to respect him. And he's definitely made a point as being one of the top point guards in this league. Like, you have to recognize him. What he did was very elite, and he did it all the way till the mountaintop. Never missed a beat. There were times, and again in the Lakers series, there were times where it's like he was like really the true problem. Where it's like it's really him who we can't stop. Like it's just ridiculous everything that he's doing.
Yeah, he scored 25 points in the quarter in that fourth quarter of that game too. Yeah, made me sad. But yeah, it's just a sight to see. And you couldn't help but feel good for him when he like got all emotional when they finally sunk in that he is an NBA champion after those 2 tough years that he had to rehab and heal and all that. And kudos to him though for not falling under pressure for having for him to rush back quickly and him coming back at his own pace, because we've seen people come back like before they're supposed to, and then they get reactivated, and they get re-injured, and not the same again.
Unfortunately, yep.
So happy he took his time. He came back when he was mentally and physically ready to play, and he reaped the benefits. Michael Porter Jr. too, even though he really didn't have a good shooting series. He battled some tough things too. He was supposed to be a top 3 pick. Hell, he was arguably the number 1 pick in that draft with Aiden win number 1.
People calling him a bust.
And then all the bad things happened. He fell all the way to 14. He fell all the way to 14. Took 1 year off. Was a bench player in the second year. Had some moments in the playoffs. I remember he had some nice moments in that playoff run. And then he really broke out on his own the year after. Then he got injured again in that playoffs and got injured again in the beginning of the rest of the season. I think he started the season playing injured because he was like worse than usual. And I remember saying, like, on recording, I thought they should have traded him. Like, come this offseason. Because it was one of those situations where I didn't know he was going to be healthy at this point. Like, people love the idea of what he can be, but what I'm seeing is just not there. But Denver stuck to the guns. They stood patient. He came back, was pretty healthy this season, was very important for them, had a really good playoff run. Didn't shoot the ball well in this finals run, but I was going this though. You run that ball pretty well.
But I would say where he really stepped up is defensively.
Yeah, he did.
Is where he really surprised me in this playoff run was how he stepped up defensively for this basketball team. And it kind of showed me that at the end of the day, he is all here for this one ultimate goal. He's here to win this title, to get to the mountaintop. So it was, a player that seemed so offensively electric to sacrifice, to step up in other ways to help his basketball club. And I remember, and I will say is before this year, it did make sense the way things were looking. It kind of felt like this team was meant to fail in terms of luck. We always talk about this all the time, bro, where we say you always need a little bit of luck to win a championship, bro.
They didn't have that factor.
Right.
Until they finally got
right. And it always seemed like this particular group was missing the luck factor. Being healthy to make it all the way through the playoffs, that is so difficult. And for them to finally have a run where they're healthy, that is put into the luck factor, and they trusted their guys, they trusted their guns, and they trusted the real process and actually got this done. So I'll give credit to Michael Porter Jr. He did have it. Offensively, he was bad, but I definitely seen him bother Jimmy Butler a lot.
That, and you actually did what Matt Schuster didn't do. But I noticed too. He cut to the rim and put the ball on the floor more often and try to score around the rim when he realized the shot wasn't falling.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
All right, before we continue, Tommy, the Pistons will win the 2024 NBA championship. Okay,
that will be the biggest turnaround in NBA history.
Listen. You feel confident on that? Put money on it. You're gonna be the richest man alive at that point.
That's true. They might be like plus 50,000 in FanDuel.
And the Mad Chatter says Joel Embiid to go.
Oh my lord.
Yep.
So,
and Joe Johnson is the greatest shooting guard of all time.
So about that,
and
Miller, former Pistons, Bruce Brown, KCP. They were
most definitely. They were great. They were absolutely amazing.
Every time I watch KCP do good things, it just makes me want to shed a tear, man. Like every single time, because that's what he was in the Lakers. Taxi Miller. We got a 76ers fan up in here, man.
Listen. How do you feel about your team right now? I love Tyrese Maxey though. I love Maxey. I love him.
The Matt Chatter. How do you feel? Yeah, how do you feel about your ball club, man? Do you want James Harden back? I'll say this too.
They gave Van Vliet probably.
Hey, I was amongst the group for some time that I believe that Joel Embiid was better than Nikola Jokic. And I'm coming on here, and I'm going to say wrong. I was definitely wrong about that. And it's as wide as a gap as I've ever realized.
I was never in that camp. I always felt like Jokic was better, but I always acknowledged the fact that it was close.
Yeah, but I just can't ignore just the way how he could orchestrate this game offensively. I mean, I always love when I see a high level playmaker, and he went into the playoffs doing this, and I mean he's had 2 Western Conference Finals now, NBA Finals. And NBA champion with a Finals MVP. I mean, it just can't be denied, man.
Not for a max contract, but you can have Harden.
You can't. Oh, we don't want him.
No.
Damn. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. It doesn't look too good for your ball club right now, man.
You guys go over the top 10 in the draft. I can't wait for.
You guys go over top. Can we wait for what?
I think to go over the top 10. You can't wait for the draft.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have a we'll be here for we'll record right before the draft and say what each team needs. Your team needs a lot, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Your team definitely needs a lot. You need like a backup big. You need another guard, another wing.
Yeah, Charlotte got the number 2 overall pick. Yeah,
Charlotte's got number 2. I mean, they should get Brandon Miller, but
the top 10 is Spurs, Hornets, Trailblazers, Rockets, Pistons. I think it's 5.
Pistons is 5.
Pistons is 5. Orlando is 6 or 7. They're around that area.
Orlando has 2 of the top 10 picks.
Yes.
That's incredible, bro.
I'm about to say, I think. Wait, no. I think Orlando second pick is like 11 or 12.
That's still really good.
If you have time, what can the 76ers do? What would you do? I don't think we have time for that because I have a laundry list of things I would do.
Oh my lord! To make it quick, to make it short, because it is a long list, but to make it short, you got to get rid of James Harden, man, because it's not only
he's free agent.
Yeah, he's a free agent. So unless he's taking a significant pay cut, maybe you could bring him back. But something
I still wouldn't want to do it. Still wouldn't want to do it. I still wouldn't do that. I'm going to tell you why. Because for start, and I said this too after they lost to the Celtics, you gotta go to the season with Tyrese Maxey as your second best player. Embrace Tyrese Maxey as your second best player.
I agree with that. Tobias. You got to get rid of Tobias, man. Cam Whitmore. I like Cam Whitmore.
That's probably exactly who they're going to draft, actually. I can see that they might either take him or Darius Walker.
They should draft Cam Whitmore because Bogdanovich, he needs to go. I think he just needs to go.
I feel that.
But yeah, so Cam Whitmore could replace him.
Let me continue with this.
Go ahead.
With this 16. Yeah, they got Chris as a second best player. He's a interesting because at the end of the day, because he's shown before they got injured Harden, he was balling. Hell, there were games when NBA was out. Maxey won games for them. He is capable of doing a lot. Let him take that load. And it's one of those situations where it's like I feel like you're holding him back, bringing back James Harden. And I'm sorry, but no amount of money is worth a dude going like 3 for 18 in the playoffs in crucial games. No amount of money is worth that. I feel like if I'm paying him a vet minimum and that's happening, I will pay for you.
And there was 2 players in your team that did that. You had 1 in James Harden, and then you had 2 in Tobias Harris too. He needs to go as well.
We say Maxey the future.
Yeah,
I
agree. I agree with Alex. I'm a believer of Tyrese Maxey too. You got to give the keys to him, but you also got to get rid of Tobias Harris as well. He needs to go too. Try to get. To be honest, it's a lot, man. I mean, you got to get. Do they got a new coach yet? Oh, they got Nick Nurse.
Yeah,
right?
Nick Nurse. Yeah.
So that was a good thing. You got Nick Nurse.
My guess is they getting Van Vliet. That's my guess. I think that's what they're getting.
Yeah, you guys should get Fred Van Vliet. Definitely should get Fred Van Vliet. They should. So since they're losing Harden's contract, they should probably get like a Naz Reid too.
Yeah, you need that backup 5 because
they need a backup 5. Because Paul Reed, I'm sorry, he's not getting it done, man.
Because let's let Harden go. How about yeah?
Let him go.
Though, he doesn't play enough. I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he plays enough.
Wait, so Philly is going to be a lot better in cap space then, right?
Let me look. Hold on.
Yeah. Because they still got Tobias Harris contract, correct? It's still there. It's still right. They still got Tobias Harris.
Next year is the final year.
Next year's the final year. So
thank you, appreciate it, by the way.
I mean, this is a role player draft, right? I mean, a role player free agency draft class. You got Fred VanVleet, you got players like Nas Reed, you got players like we're gonna see. I hope he doesn't go anywhere, but a player like Rui Hachimura. You got a lot of key.
That's gonna make me sad.
Right, that would make me shed a tear. But there's a lot of good quality role players, and that's what your team problem was lack of depth. You don't have one was depth, and then two, the guys you relied on, two of them in Tobias Harris and James Harden, they're probably gonna go like a combined like 3 for 36 or something like that. Then you got Joel, who's always injured.
How good do you think Ball is, LaMelo or Lonzo?
Yeah, which one? Which Ball? I like them both, but I think we're more Lonzo guys.
My guess is LaMelo. That's my guess.
If it is LaMelo, he's a good player, but it kind of feels like he hasn't improved since his rookie season. It kind of feels like he's the same player as he was the year before.
What can the Hornets do? Tune in next Thursday. We'll answer that question.
Yeah, tune in next Thursday. But I'll give you this hint. This is a marathon and not a race if you're the Hornets.
Right.
So definitely take it to.
But I'll say that to end off with the Sixers, I'll say this. Because I'll say this for Tobias Harris. I don't think he played bad this series. In this series, I don't think he was terrible. Especially in that final, he played okay.
He didn't, but I'm talking more about his tenure in this team.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Hold on.
And it's too expensive. It's too. If you could get him for cheaper, okay, yes. But for that money that they're paying for him, hell, definitely not.
Oh no, hell no.
Yeah,
he
definitely.
He gave max money to put up role players. That's what what he actually is.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the problem with your team, bro. Your team overpays players, man.
So
completely overpays players to the point you don't have depth.
Yeah, Sixers is my main team. He's a will do. He's a Jordan is cheap. Hey man, listen. We have to listen. Apparently, there are players that agree. I think it was Chuck that said that.
Yeah.
That him and Sky Pippen are the cheapest players cheapest people I've seen in my life.
They are cheap, and he also just doesn't have a good vision for talent. Most great players don't, to be honest with you. Like Larry Bird is like an exception.
Yeah, he really is like one of the few exceptions. No, you know what I'm saying with that.
Because Jordan drafted Frank Kaminsky, right?
Yes.
He drafted Michael Kidd-Gilchrist.
No, not just that. You can't just say that. He did that while rejecting an offer to get 4 first-round picks from Boston. Because Boston wanted to trade to get Justice Winslow. You forgot that part.
I forgot about that. That's horrible, man. He also
Boston sold and Sean saved them.
That's horrible, man. So they got that. They got Frank Kaminsky. They got Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Who else?
I'm about to explain. Jordan like his GM. He's I think the minority owner.
He's the minority owner.
He's minority owner, but has a lot of say in team decisions. And I think if you're asking explain what I mean what I said about people saying that he's cheap, I was talking about as a person, not more so than like a GM. Even though that was true because he's let these of my players walk. Like Kemba Walker, even though apparently that was the best thing he did.
Yeah, the only good thing he really did was both draft Kemba Walker and then not pay him, right?
Yeah. Because I think he was eligible for a supermax, but they didn't pay him, which I understand.
Yeah,
which I understand, but still.
I wouldn't. You don't pay no small guards in supermax unless he's like. I can't even say stuff because he's kind of a tall guard because Kemba's just small. No
He's small
problem,
and can
bro.
defend.
Yeah, he's small, can defend. If you got like a 6'1", 6'2" and under, a supermax is no. Unless they're if they're shooting out the gym.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, bro. I mean, good luck to your team. Good,
But continue, by the way. I know you're speaking on.
Oh yeah. Unless if I got a 6'2" guard and under, unless he's like shooting like a Steph, then I'm not giving him no supermax. Like he got to be like from the perimeter. He has to be so dominant from outside shooting for me to give him that kind of money. Because besides that, I'm not. Because chances are at 6'2", 6'1", he's a defensive liability.
Yeah, there's not many people that's like Kyle Lowry and Chris Paul in that aspect that they're that short, but they're still like they're strong and they can defend still.
Exactly. Yeah. Supermax money for small guards like that is just you're a bad GM if you're doing that. Like, to be honest with you. But I'm glad Tommy mentioned Whitmore. I'm a fan of him as well. I think that's a good wing, a really good wing in this draft.
Yeah, because that's what I need. That's the most different what I need. I need a wing, like badly.
They need another wing. They get Cam back. Let's see what happens with Cam. You got Wiseman coming back. You got they still got Bagley. Durant. They have so much young talent. Oh my gosh, they do need just the right coach to just bunch it all together.
I mean, they got a good coach. We'll just see what happens.
Yeah, we'll just see what happens. Yep.
Shout out to Monty. I was about to say, shout out to Monty. But
shout out to Monty.
He said LeBron play another year. Yeah, he is.
He's playing another year.
I refuse to believe he retires. At least not yet.
He's not gonna retire like that. And he's LeBron James. There's no way he goes out without a farewell tour. Impossible.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, there's no way.
And back to the we were talking about before we got talking about the draft in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring up Aaron Gordon with this team.
Okay.
Because this was a trade where it was very low risk and very high reward for Denver. I remember watching them that season too, where I remember Zion was cooking them like something serious, but Denver still won. They won by like one or something like that. And I'm guessing like they're missing something. They need it best because his like that's going to give them problems. Q and Aaron Gordon were strong as hell, really good defender, was from both the perimeter and the paint, and could give you a good 15 points per game. That's all they really needed. It was the perfect piece to that puzzle, and he can give you games where he's hot and he can score. Q in game 4 where Jokic is having a down game for his standards. Jamal Murray, 12 assists, no turnovers by the way. Shot 5 for 17 though. He shot 5 for 17 though.
He did shot 5 for 17.
But you know who came to the rescue? Aaron Gordon. 27 points, went 3 for 4 from 3 with 7 rebounds and 6 assists. And you know who else came to the rescue that game too? Bruce Brown with 21 points.
Yep. I mean, that game I think truly showed how good of a basketball team the Denver Nuggets is, where their options are endless. And Aaron Gordon, I mean, he's like their third or maybe probably really fourth. No, he's their fourth guy. He's their fourth guy in this team. That is an above average starter. That's a starter. And when I say that, I mean, he starts in damn near any team in the whole entire league, right? But he's a slightly above average.
Lakers man.
To be honest with you, wherever LeBron go, I go, bro. To be honest with you, but I do have a soft spot for the Lakers because I like Kobe Bryant as well. So
I'm about to say Lakers been my favorite team for years. And
yeah, for as long as I know them.
Yeah, those 20 tests were dark. Those 20 tests were dark.
But yeah, Aaron Gordon was just that final piece of the puzzle. I mean, when they got him, remember me and you couldn't stop talking about him. We thought they damn near was going to win the championship that year.
Yeah, and then the games that they played, the few games they played with the core that they had, they went. I'm about to say they went stupid, and then Jamal Murray got injured.
Yeah, didn't they go like 16-0 when they got him?
No, they didn't play that much. They didn't play that much with them.
But they had a crazy record when Aaron
I think
Gordon
they were
went there.
they didn't lose. They know that one game in Boston where in the fourth quarter they just allowed like a 31-3 run. Some bullshit just happened. Shit just went left. But they looked unstoppable.
Yeah, they were like 10-1 or something like that.
I think they beat up on the. I thought there was a game. I think there was a game. They think we beat up on the Clippers. I think it was something like that.
Yeah, they destroyed them.
And it was like, oh yeah, they're probably gonna win the finals. And then that game against Golden State happened.
Exactly. But this was definitely a team, and it's in recording. You guys could go back. We feared this team the second they got Aaron Gordon. The second, I think the only team we were really like, only Milwaukee. Like if Milwaukee will probably beat them, but pretty much when they got Aaron Gordon, we thought this team might have just won the championship as soon as they got him.
Right. But shout out to this team, and shout out to Christian Braun as well, because rookie year, he did what he had to do. He even got he had some big moments in this playoff run as well. I think it was game 3. He had 15 points as well. He did his thing.
Game 3.
All right. So also shout out to the following people who got their first rings that we never thought would get rings. Jeff Green, shout out to him. Shout out to my boy Uncle Jeff. Got his ring. Shout out to Thomas Bryant. He got his ring. Left us to get the ring, even though we traded you. Not our fault. That is shout out to Reggie Jackson. He got his ring.
Yeah, shout out to Reggie, bro. I'm happy for him.
Shout out to DeAndre Jordan. He got his ring.
I cannot believe out of that Clippers group, he's the one that became a champion.
Shout out to Nashawn Bones Highland. He got a ring.
He did. Wow.
And I think it's somebody else that I'm missing. That was here but got traded.
I can't remember. I'm not sure.
But I'll say if I remember, I'll say a shout out to them.
Yeah.
But
and Jeff Green, he quality minutes.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. He's still a good player to this day. Was it media kind of down on finals because Joker said it's over? I can go home now. What's your take? Jokic is one of the type. Jokic's not a party person.
He's not.
Like Jokic is like one of the more stoic. He's like the closest thing we have to Tim Duncan nowadays.
Pretty much. I was just gonna say that. That's like that's something Tim Duncan would probably say. He probably would say less words, but that's something Tim Duncan would probably say. Listen, he just played. He did what he wants to do, and he want to go home.
Right, and Gordon and Murray are great. Most definitely.
Those guys are truly great. It's always when you got a two-way player, it's always good. I was big on LeBron when he went to Cavs, but any team that goes to the Lakers just try to get easier ring.
Not at that point.
Not at that point. Remember, he went to the Lakers with Lonzo Ball.
No, I think I could tell you the whole entire roster at that point. I think.
Okay.
Because they just won 34 games that year. I remember this because this was one of the few years around that time where I felt optimism. I remember this before we got LeBron too. I felt optimistic. The team that he joined before that was Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, but he was on his way out. Zubac, who we traded in the middle of that first season, which made me sad. KCP in his earlier days. Channing Frye, Isaiah Thomas. There's more. Mr. Kyle Kuzma. Larry Nance, but we traded in midseason to the Cavaliers. Jordan Clarkson, but we traded in midseason to the Cavaliers. Hence why we got Isaiah Thomas and I said his name earlier, Channing Frye. Right, he joined that team. I think Andre Ingram was the year before that. I think it was the year before that was Andre Ingram, the G League Godfather. Also my fault. It was 37. It was 38. My fault. I was what you call it? A game off. No, it was that season. I just saw it. It was that season. Okay. And they also had Brook Lopez, who was also on his way out, along with the young Alex Grosso, who didn't play much, and the albatross, what you call what's his face? I'm blanking on his name. Luol Deng, there you go. And
Luol Deng. Okay. Luol Dangerous.
Luol Dangerous, yes. I'm like, what is this dude's name? There you go. Yeah, that was the team he joined. And it was so they were really not expected to do much until LeBron got there. And he signed a 4-year deal too with Boston when he got there. So I wouldn't call that an easy ring at all. It was one of those situations where he wanted to be in California. Cause I also think he wanted to focus on his acting as well as play. Like who don't like? And it's Lakers. It's the Lake show. Like no matter how much more successful the Clippers has been with the Lakers in terms of like the winning aspect in the 2010s, like it was always Lakers. It was always the Lakers city no matter what.
Yeah, LeBron always talks about how amazing it feels to put on that Laker jersey and how just insane it is to just even be in the arena.
Right. I'm biased. I think to me, Lakers are Patriots with Brady or Yankees. They were
when Kobe was there, when Magic was there. Yeah.
Until Kobe pretty much towards Achilles, then the Lakers were garbage like 6-7 years.
Yeah, you got to remember, man. For that stretch of 6 or 7 years, the Lakers and the Knicks were like the worst franchises in like existence, bro. Like, they were bad. They were bad.
Like personal story. I can tell you exactly where I was at when they signed Timothy Mozgov and Lou. I can tell you exactly where I was at. I was playing 2K16, right? Then I got the alert from Beach Report that they signed Timothy Mozgov. That it was like at 1 a.m. and that ruined my night. Like that legitimately ruined my day. I remember like it was yesterday.
For $20 million a year, right?
It was 4 years, $64 million.
For Timothy Mozgov.
Timothy Mozgov, because he's a champion. As far as LeBron, yeah, he's second best, maybe be the best. Jordan and some older guys. Some guy was. I personally think he's the second greatest player of all time. You can put him as the greatest, and I don't think you're wrong. It depends on what you value more. I think LeBron can still be the GOAT. His career's not over yet. It's close, but it's not over yet. He did break the scoring record at the end of the day. A record that was standing for 30 plus years, and that just speaks to his and the biggest case you have for LeBron for him being the GOAT is his longevity.
Yeah. I always say, even if you hate him, I just feel like you can't deny that he's. I would just say, bare minimum, he's a top 5 player of all time. I just say, even no matter how much you hate him, he's definitely like a top 5 player of all time.
I feel that.
It's because you have no choice to. Like you're just acknowledging the greatness. Like that's just how I am too. I love all the greats of this game. I don't really hate no greats of this game. I kind of see all the positive ways they put into the game. But a player like LeBron he's rare, and I will always say he's at least top 5 player of all time, man.
Right. But that'll be all. Unless you got anything more to say?
No, not really. I mean, we still here longer than I thought.
I'm about to say, but all right. So that'll be all. Next Thursday, draft content. We'll be talking about the draft, and pretty much along with the draft, we'll be talking about what each team should do. We will try our best to focus on the teams that did not make the playoffs because we haven't talked about them in a while because they weren't talking about they didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
So about one last thing. When I go to the store and buy all the different LeBron shoes, I will say he's the. I'm just going to try to say he's the GOAT.
He got pretty cool shoes. Pretty cool shoes.
I mean, he do. But yeah, be sure to subscribe to Sports Dynasty and Mafia Sports Report. I'm about to thank you for the participation, guys. And we'll catch y'all in the next one.
Peace, man. Good luck to your Sixers, bro.